Good evening and thank you for tuning in to TV2's special Halloween edition of Ashland Tonight News. Today is Thursday, October 30th, and here's a look at today's top stories.
If you're looking to study abroad, AU has 4 new opportunities to allow you to see the world. Find out more when we return.
Halloween is one day away. Stay tuned for tips that will help you make sure your kids are safe when trick-or-treating.
An explosion earlier this week left a Mansfield house in pieces. Learn what caused the disaster when we come back. I'm Giselle Updegraff.
And I'm Jake Beckley. It's all coming up next, only on Ashland Tonight News. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us. Ashland University's annual Service Week took place last week and students were able to give back to the community. The Sisters of the Delta Zeta sorority joined in the Community Service Week by hosting an event that kickstarted the Halloween holiday. DZ's Trick or Treat Help Someone Eat program collected cans from the dorms on campus. The sisters also went door to door in Ashland to collect cans from the community. Altogether, a total of 4,092 cans were collected through this event. All proceeds and food items were taken today to be donated to the Ashland County Salvation Army.
AU will now be offering 2 new programs. Early childhood education majors will have the option to pursue a Spanish minor that applies directly to their field. This minor could potentially set them apart from other job applicants. There's an increasing number of children in Ohio schools whose first language is Spanish, and this minor gives teachers the opportunity to better understand their students. This new program requires participants to study in Mexico for 6 weeks. While abroad, they will take classes and work directly with students and teachers in Mexican classrooms. AU will also now be offering a Master's of Fine Arts degree. Those who are interested in this program can attend an informational session hosted by AU. The session will take place on November 12th at 7 p.m. in Douck. If you're interested, please RSVP by November 5th to swells@ashland.edu.
Cleveland Indians broadcaster Matt Underwood visited Ashland University this past week and spoke to sport management students. While speaking, Underwood continued to express the importance of his 3 R's: right place, right time, and ready. Underwood finished off his speech by telling the students to first get their degree and then find out what they love to do and then find someone who will pay them to do it.
Ever considered studying abroad? Here's your opportunity. The AU Office of Global Education is offering 4 study tours. For those interested in religion, Dr. Ahn will lead the Legacy of Paul and Peter in Italy during spring break. This 10-day Italian experience focuses on major theological, cultural, and social issues within Roman Catholicism. Participants will travel to cities such as Florence, Assisi, and Rome. If you'd prefer South America, then you can head to Peru with Dr. Swain. The trip will take place May 11th through 22nd and focus on the cultural transition from Inca to colonial society. The trip will tour the coast, mountains, and jungle regions. Dr. Hilary Taynor will also be leading a tour this summer. Taynor will travel with students through London from May 14th through the 30th. The trip will look at London's history, culture, and character. Linked with this spring's 3-credit course in British literature, the tour includes trips to the Westminster Abbey, the British Museum, the Tower of London, and even a guided theatrical London tour. If you'd prefer to stay in the States, Dr. Carl Wally and David Comer will lead Colonization of Our Nations, beginning in New England this June. The tour is designed for secondary social studies and language art teachers. Students will experience places like Plymouth Rock, the Salem Witch Museum, and even the famed Old North Church of Paul Revere's Wild Ride.
Ashland University's Spectrum Arts and Lecture Series continued on October 26th with a performance by the Capitol Steps in Hugo Young Theater. Capitol Steps is a political-based comedy group that began as a group of Senate staffers who set out to satirize the very people and places that employed them. The Capitol Steps have recorded 28 albums, have been featured on ABC, CBS, NBC, and PBS, and can be heard 4 times a year on national public radio stations nationwide. Up next, there may be hope for an Ashland cookie factory. Find out what is being done to keep their doors open when we return. And it's less than a week away from the presidential election. Learn how we can stay informed when we return. It's all coming up next on Ashland Tonight News.
From town to town, you can hear me moan, a mournful cry. I am so alone, and when the darkness falls, a heart so true, in chains of thoughtlessness, cut through and through, cut through and
What do a store owner, a mother of two, and an honor student have in common? They've all recovered from a mental health problem, and they're all part of our lives. Mental health problems are surprisingly common. They affect almost every family in America, maybe even yours. Get the facts about mental health. Call 1-800-789-2647 because mental health is part of all our lives.
No matter what type of home renovation you're planning, put this at the top of your to-do list. Make sure your family is up to date on the tetanus vaccine, because after 10 years, none of you are protected against tetanus and another potentially fatal disease, diphtheria. A minor injury, such as a cut or a scrape, can put you at risk for a tetanus infection. And while safety gear offers some protection, an up-to-date vaccination called the TD booster is your best insurance against tetanus. If it's been more than 10 years since your last booster, then it's not just your house that's out of date, it's you. If it's been 10, do it again. Talk to your healthcare provider to find out if it's time for a TD booster or visit nfid.org.
Ashland city officials are now stating they have hope that the local Archway Cookie Factory may be able to keep their doors open. In a letter to Judge Scott Sanchi, who is the ruling magistrate in the Chapter 11 bankruptcy case, Ashland Area Chamber of Commerce President Marla Akridge and Ashland Area Council for Economic Development Director Evan Skirty requested that the court keep the company open. The letter was sent by Akridge and Skirty on October 24th. Meanwhile, a motion to expedite the sale of the company by Archway was granted on October 28th. A hearing on the sale procedures motion will be held on November 6th. Tune in next week to receive updates on the case.
A 911 call was received at 2 p.m. on Tuesday afternoon for skull injuries of a 23-month-old toddler. Later the next day, Bradley Petty, the father of the child, was found dead after a completed suicide attempt. Police believe that Petty injured his own son and then killed himself Wednesday afternoon. In 2007, Petty was charged with a misdemeanor in child endangerment. The toddler, Christian Petty, underwent surgery on Tuesday night and currently remains in critical condition at Children's Hospital in Columbus. The case is still under investigation of Galleon police officers.
A house in Mansfield exploded Saturday around 4 p.m. after gas that had initially thought to have been turned off leaked into the house and was ignited. Thankfully, the owner of the house was out running errands and no one was injured in the explosion. Authorities are now investigating how the leak started and what had caused the gas to ignite in the first place.
Let the countdown continue. It's now less than 5 days to what many have called the most important presidential election in the history of the United States. Both candidates are continuing their campaign in battleground states as Republican hopeful John McCain is making stops in Ohio on his bus tour today and tomorrow. This coming Tuesday, November 4th, is Election Day, and if you want to stay up to date on the latest results, tune into TV2 from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. for live election night coverage. TV2 reporters will go live to give you the latest on local and national results. Everyone around campus has dug out their gloves and scarves this week to keep warm from the cold weather. Stay tuned for your weather updates with Leland Gottlieb coming up next. Ashland Tonight News will be right back.
Every day, someone is being bullied. And every day, someone else is a bully. It can happen anywhere at any time, and it has become one of your child's greatest fears. There is no profile of a bully. Bullies come in all shapes and sizes, and so do the people they bully. Having a daily conversation with your child and staying in touch may be the key to bully prevention. Find out how you can help by calling for free information. Make time to listen, take time to talk about bullying.
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
We have seen the faces of suffering in Sudan, in Darfur. Hundreds of thousands killed, more than 2 million people torn from their homes, exiles in their own country, forced into camps of hunger and isolation. But we have seen the strength of a mother's hands. We have seen the hope in a child's face. Catholic Relief Services is on the ground, in the camps, providing the basics of life: food, water, shelter. The need is urgent. The choice we face is simple: watch as another chapter of tragedy is added to human history, or act now to stop the dying and keep alive the promise of a better future. Millions of Sudanese still wait for their stories to end with hope. That hope begins with you. Find out how you can help at helpcrs.org/Darfur.
Welcome back to Ashland Tonight News. I am Leland, the weatherman Gottlieb, bringing you, yes, Ashland's weather. Well, folks, it looks like it's going to be an excellent Halloween. We'll take a look at that in that all-important 3-day forecast. But first, let's get to the maps and see what's going on. We can see that there's a high-pressure system down in the south. It's worked its way all the way from Canada down, and we've seen some really cold air for the last week. I've been under the weather for the past week, and it looks like I'm going to be really happy coming up because we have some warm air because we're getting on that back side of that high-pressure system. So we see moisture and Gulf of Mexico air pumping into the northern area of Ohio. Now let's take a look at those temperatures around our region. You can see that those 40s and 30s are moving all the way up into the Maine area and New England area, and we're left behind with warm weather. We are seeing 60s and even 70s push into the Midwest region. That's all I have for the weather. Now let's take a look at that all-important 3-day forecast. We'll see temperatures moderate into the 60s by Friday. So it looks like it's going to be an excellent Halloween. Have fun with that trick or treat. Now here's Greg with sports.
Thanks, Lee. I'm Greg Smith. Now it's time to get a look at your Ashland University sports. On Saturday, the Eagle football team traveled to Allendale, Michigan to do battle with the country's top-ranked team, the Grand Valley State University Lakers, in what many felt was the game of the year in the GLIAC Conference. The two teams traded touchdowns throughout the first half, but a safety by Grand Valley quarterback Brad Eichek gave the Eagles a 2-point halftime advantage. AU would extend that lead to 15 in the third quarter, but a Billy Cundiff interception sparked 27 straight points for the Lakers as they went on to defeat the Eagles of Ashland University 48-42. Quarterback Billy Cundiff had his finest performance of the year, finishing 28 of 44 for 358 yards and 4 touchdowns. Wide receivers Joe Horn and Johnny Long each had over 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. True freshman running back Damaris McCoy also had an outstanding game, rushing for 85 yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. The AU defense played well on Saturday, but was simply outmatched at times against the high-powered Grand Valley offense. Senior linebacker Tom Brenner had 9 total tackles and a sack, and defensive back Chris Harvey had 10 total tackles and a forced fumble. The Eagles now travel to Indianapolis, Indiana to face off against the Greyhounds of Indianapolis in hopes of keeping their playoff chances alive. The men's soccer team traveled back home this week to face off against in-state rivals Tiffin and Findlay. On Saturday, AU's Aaron Favre scored an overtime goal to defeat Tiffin, and with that also clinched the GLIAC regular season title for the Eagles. 2 days later, the Eagles finished their conference schedule with a match versus Findlay. A Dan Gilmer goal helped propel the Eagles to a 1-0 victory. AU finishes their regular season on Friday before hosting the conference tournament on November 6th through 8th. The women's soccer team also had 2 home dates with Tiffin and Findlay this week. Unfortunately, the Lady Eagles did not bear the same outcome. AU fell to Tiffin 3-0 and followed that with a 4-1 loss against Findlay. The Eagles faced Northern Michigan in their final game this season before heading into the conference tournament. The Ashland volleyball team was home this past weekend to face off against some tough GLIAC competition. On Friday, the Eagles fell to Hillsdale 3-1, but bounced back on Saturday afternoon to defeat the Oilers of Findlay 3-1. Junior Marina Santos paced the Eagles with 18 kills on Saturday. They now hit the road for 3 conference matchups before the conference tournament begins next week. The AU women's tennis team began their conference tournament quest with a 5-4 victory against the Huskies of Michigan Tech. From there, the Eagles would drop their next 2 decisions, finishing their season at an impressive 10-5 overall record. They will start the season back up in February. That's all we have for another busy week in Ashland sports. Be sure to head out to all the Ashland University sporting events this upcoming week. But if you can't make it to the game, come check it out back here on TV2. Up next is Shane O'Neill with your health report. Stay tuned.
These are poor coal mining communities where there's no jobs and no health care. Last year we had 7,000 people, so we know it's needed. Instead of being stationary in one clinic, we bring this clinic to 8 communities. People appreciate so much that we're able to be there with them in a moment of crisis, and that is a gift which keeps me on the road and keeps me going.
Have you saved a life today?
I took 2 flood victims to a shelter.
I donated a day's pay to help a family that lost everything in a fire.
Have you saved a life today?
I teach a class in infant CPR.
I donated a pint of blood.
Have you saved a life today?
No. But today somebody saved mine.
The American Red Cross. Together, we can save a life.
Our hero,
my dad fixed things for everyone.
Whose names we never hear, reaching out to help their fellow man.
And me?
There are dreamers,
well, I just held the light.
Who are making dreams come true, taking time to teach the children there's nothing they can't do. All it takes is a point of light.
Over the years, we fixed things for friends we knew, and some we didn't. He was teaching me more than just how to fix things.
And you try to make it right.
Teaching by example.
You will be
pass it on.
A point of light.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Shane O'Neill, and I'm here with a special trick-or-treat edition of this week's TV2 Health Report. Before everyone goes out this Halloween, we want to make sure you have a few safety tips that will ensure a fun night for everyone. First and foremost, some tips for the kids. Make sure you trick-or-treat in neighborhoods you are familiar with, and only approach houses that are lit. You also want to make sure you are staying on the sidewalks and avoid running. It may be harder than you think to dash from house to house in that full-size Optimus Prime costume. And parents, if you are not accompanying your children this year, be sure to know exactly where they will be going. And don't forget to give that satchel full of candy a good inspection before you let the kids eat it. Not only is this safe, but it allows for some swindling of your favorite treats. And finally, some tips for the homeowners, the dealers of candy without whom trick-or-treating would not exist. Please make sure that your yard is clear of anything that could potentially trip a young trick-or-treater, such as hoses, ladders, and disgruntled lawn gnomes. Also, if you choose to use an actual candle in your jack-o'-lanterns, make sure there is no chance that any paper or cloth decorations can be blown into the flame. Been there. That's all with health for tonight. Be sure to have a safe and a happy Halloween. Let's toss it to Danny with the latest Hollywood news. Danny?
Thanks, Shane. Great costume. I'm Danny Mackin, and let's take a look at this week's edition of TV2 Entertainment. In stunning fashion, Joaquin Phoenix has decided to retire from acting. The actor, who just turned 34 years old this past Tuesday, has decided to pursue a career in music. Apparently, Phoenix's passion for music began when he learned to play guitar to play the role of Johnny Cash in 2005's Walk the Line. According to Billboard, Phoenix is working on an album with Tim Burgess, frontman of the UK group The Charlatans. Phoenix said that Two Lovers, his upcoming romantic drama with Gwyneth Paltrow and Vanessa Shaw, will be his final on-screen role. In an exclusive interview with E! Online, Phoenix said, "This will be my last performance as an actor. I'm not doing films anymore. I've been through that. I've done it. I'm dead serious. The picture is scheduled for release on February 13th, 2009, and so far, there is no word on when Phoenix's first album will hit shelves. Phoenix was twice nominated for an Oscar for his work in the movies Gladiator and Walk the Line. Phoenix has also won a Grammy for his work on the Walk the Line soundtrack. Good luck, Joaquin. In more somber news, tragedy struck singer Jennifer Hudson this past week on October 24th. Jennifer Hudson's mother, Darnell Hudson Donerson, and her brother, Jason, were shot to death in their home. Hudson's 7-year-old nephew, Julian King, was also reported missing and later found shot to death in an SUV. William Balfour, the 27-year-old stepfather of Hudson's nephew and estranged husband of her sister, is currently being held in jail. Balfour has not been charged, but he is being held in custody for parole violation. Police think he may have had an accomplice, but he's the only suspect in the killings themselves. Balfour served 7 years in prison for an attempted murder and vehicle hijacking in 1999. For those who enjoyed this summer's second biggest box office hit, Iron Man, I'm happy to report that Iron Man 2 is in the works. Robert Downey Jr. is reprising his role as billionaire genius Tony Stark with a sequel due out on May 7th, 2010. And The Avengers, scheduled for July 15th, 2011. Don Cheadle is joining the Iron Man 2 cast as Stark's ally, Colonel James Rhodey Rhodes. The Avengers will team Iron Man with Marvel Comics heroes Captain America, the Hulk, Wasp, Giant Man, Hawkeye, and Thor. What a cast! Downey and Cheadle are the first stars to sign on for the Avengers. Iron Man kicked off a huge summer for Hollywood with a $98.6 million opening weekend last May. The film grossed $318.3 million domestically, the year's second biggest hit behind The Dark Knight, which has taken in $527.4 million. Speaking of The Dark Knight's director, Christopher Nolan, in a rare interview with the LA Times, hinted that he might not return for a third installment of the Batman releases. He was quoted as saying, "Is there a story that's going to keep me emotionally invested for the couple of years that it will take to make another one? That's the overriding question." On a more superficial level, I have to ask the question, how many good third movies can you name in a franchise? That's not hard. Matrix Revolutions, Just 3D, Scream 3, come on people! I don't know what he's talking about, but regardless, let's hope for moviegoers and comic book fans everywhere that Mr. Nolan has a change of heart, as rumors of Angelina Jolie, Johnny Depp, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and even Cher joining on for the third installment are very tantalizing. Have a happy Halloween, and that's it for this week's Entertainment Report. I'm Danny Mackin, and TV2 will be back after the break.
You ask. Dad? Dad? Will you please play ball with us?
No, not right now, son. I gotta finish painting. I put it off way too long already.
Come on.
Life's magic moments are waiting if you'll only try.
Son, let me show you how to swing that bat. Put that off too long, too.
To show them that you care with the time you take to share. So don't ever let the magic pass you by.
It's often life's small moments that bring the greatest memories. Don't let the magic pass you by.
Don't let the magic pass you by.
From the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
And now, another fact of Congress. When you were in kindergarten, did you play well with others? How would you grade Congress? Congress deals with many difficult issues, so we should expect some disagreements. But sometimes lawmakers get a little out of hand. Incivility and rudeness make it impossible to get anything done, and when nothing gets done, the government shuts down. The result, bad laws that affect us all. Civility doesn't mean that lawmakers have to agree with each other, just that they should respect each other. Only when lawmakers respect each other will lawmakers find common ground. When you're civil to someone else, good things happen. And that's another fact of Congress.
Welcome back to Ashland Tonight News.
Attention seniors, if you plan on getting your diploma in May, your graduation application is due this Saturday, November 1st. All applications must be turned in to the registrar's office.
Also, don't forget to turn your clocks back this weekend. Standard time returns on Sunday, November 2nd at 2 a.m. So make sure to set your clock back an hour before you go to bed. Any Halloween plans that everybody's doing this weekend?
I know I have some. Personally, I'm going to be dressing up as a brownie, candy-coated sprinkles and all, and I'm going to be having a great time.
Delicious.
Yeah. Yep. Anybody else?
I'm going to a Halloween costume party. I'm going to be a Ghostbuster.
Oh. No way. Yeah. I didn't even see that coming. That's funny.
Well, I'm going as a devil this year. I'm going out to Toledo to hang out with some of my high school buddies.
Sweet. Well, that about does it for tonight's Ashland Tonight News.
We would just like to thank our TV2 crew, and if you're interested in helping out with Ashland's TV station, you can email us at tv2@ashland.edu.
And don't forget to join us next Tuesday for election night coverage at 9, and again next Thursday at 4:30 for your weekly newscast.
Thanks for joining us.
Good night, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Halloween.